as soon as you get above some very low threshold in kind of the rules that you're using to set up the system, you immediately get to this place where you're capable of doing any possible computation. And this leads to this thing I call the principle of computational equivalence, which essentially says that above that very low threshold, above that, all systems tend to be equivalent in the sophistication of computations they can do. So that has an important consequence, not too hard to understand, which is if you're trying to predict how a system will behave, you are, in a sense, competing with it as in terms of the computations it's doing. So the system is running, it's kind of doing a computation to figure out the behavior of the system itself. You, as the kind of predictor of the system, are also doing a computation with your brain, with your computer, whatever else, and you're trying to predict what that system is going to do. So you might have assumed, oh, that's just a little system in nature that has very simple rules. I'm going to be, because I have a much more sophisticated brain, I'm going to be able to just jump ahead. And even though it took it 1 billion steps to figure out what's going to happen to it after 1 billion steps, I'm just going to be able to, write down a formula and in one fell swoop, so to speak, just say, here's what's going to happen. But this principle of computational equivalence says that's not the way things work, that in fact, the computational capabilities of my brain or my computer or whatever else are no greater than the computational capabilities of this system with its simple rules. And so what that means is I can't expect to jump ahead like that. I'm forced to basically just follow the whole sort of irreducible computational process that the system itself follows. And that leads to this idea of computational irreducibility, the idea that there are computational processes where you just have to follow each step to see what's going to happen. And that idea of computational irreducibility just has an amazing number of consequences, which it's taken me sort of decades to progressively understand what all these various consequences are, whether they're for how we think about AI ethics, how we think about free will and consciousness and so on, to things about what we can predict in science, to things about sort of how the fundamental physics is put together and so on. This idea of computational irreducibility is a really important idea.